Oh, no. Good morning. I did. I said, oh, no. I couldn't get my headphones on over. I have a particular, bump in my hair this morning. Apologies. Welcome. Good morning.
I feel like we're just having that kind of morning. It's so natural to that.
Welcome. You're listening to Off the Shelf. This is Nicole Fowles. That voice is Molly Meyers, LaBadie. Good morning.
Good morning.
In the studio with us, we have Mark at the board.
Hey there, morning.
And we have Karen joining us from the Ohio Wesleyan University Lifelong Learning Institute.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Good
Thank you so
morning.
much for having me.
Yes, we are going to talk about all the things that you can continue your education with the Ohio Wesleyan University, especially for people, is it 55?
55 and older.
55 and older. So we'll talk about that the second half of the show. You won't want to miss it. As usual, we're here. It's a Friday morning.
Yes.
I do have to give a special shout out if she's listening. Today is my mother's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday,
birthday,
Nicole's mom.
Happy birthday, Paula. I should be seeing her sometime this weekend, both for birthday festivities and to watch my children while I go see Anne Juliet.
What a gift. Oh, but it's so worth it. I went with my mom to see Anne Juliet and my sister. It's so worth it.
Yeah. Mark, did you get the media pass?
No, I saw that. I didn't go, though. I know. I can't believe it. You just said it, and I went, oh, darn it.
Drat.
Yeah,
You would have
drat.
loved it.
Yeah.
So many good opportunities for theater. I'll give my plug when I talk about the things that I'm reading here in a minute. But Molly, what have you been reading lately?
I got a romance for us.
Tell me about it.
Okay. This may be one of my favorite romances of all time now. It's called Funny Story by the author Emily Henry.
Oh, she's very popular.
She's very popular. This is a very popular book. Most people who've read it have loved it. It's the story of a children's librarian. And she starts the story off by saying, how we met. My fiance's so much better at telling this story. But quickly we find out that her fiance, Peter, has left her for his best friend, Petra. And suddenly she has to find a place to live in this new town. She has to rebuild her life from this engagement that she's moved to his hometown. His friends were her friends. His life was hers. She ends up moving in with her fiance's new girlfriend's ex-boyfriend.
I need pins on a board
I know.
red lines.
I promise after that it gets pretty straight. In
Okay.
essence, the two exes of the broken up couple move in together.
Okay.
And the book just starts with them being miserable. Both of them just, her crying, his watching Bridget Jones. Like the drama, you're laughing the whole time. It is ridiculous. We've all been there doing those ridiculous breakup things. But then things start to change.
Well, of course.
Because her boyfriend and his new girlfriend, or her ex-fiance and his new girlfriend, send them wedding invitations.
Oh, no.
And then he calls her to tell her, you don't have to come. And that's when she may say that, well, now my roommate and I are engaged. Or not engaged. We're coming as a couple. We're
Of
dating.
course. Yes.
Sorry, they are not engaged. They are dating. And she exaggerates, and then she has to go out and tell... We're dating, by the way. Now, I got to say, there are some sparks flying. One of the things I love about her, she is a children's librarian, and this is Children's Librarian to High Heaven. This is a romance, so there are some spicy pieces. I give this about a 3. I think it's more plot-driven than just spicy sections-driven.
Right.
But still three peppers in there.
Right.
So do expect that spice level.
So we have all the romance tropes. The people who listen, we have the fake boyfriend, and we have the close proximity because they've moved in together.
She's even living in his closet because it's really not a 2-bedroom place. It's a big walk-in, but still has her wedding dress and all the things because she was planning a wedding.
Well, love was bound to happen.
Love was bound to happen, but it happens in the weirdest, most uncomfortable. You're cheering. Her name's Daphne. You're cheering Daphne on. You're cheering all of the people in this community on, except for Peter and Petra. You really do want them to fall on their faces because they're the kind of couple everybody loves. And so they're having to, she's having to rebuild herself in this community she moved to. But she loves her library. She's trying to do a overnight readathon, and she is counting down the days till she can leave. of course, we'll see if something happens to keep her from doing that.
Exactly. And tell us the title again.
The title again is Funny Story by Emily Henry. If you're looking for a fun breakup / fall in love story, this has got it all. I mean, I have to say, I cried at the end of this book.
Oh.
I was so cheering Daphne on, and Emily Henry does a great job of closing it up for those of us who need a happy closure, a good closure. Crying along with her,
right.
Tears of joy. Mm-hmm. So get into this book. You're going to love it. Funny story, Emily Henry. Read it unless you hate romances, then this is not for you.
And then stay far, far away.
Please don't hurt my book. Don't give it a bad review.
Yeah, exactly. Just it's not for you and stay away.
Exactly.
All right. Karen, have you been reading anything good lately or anything that comes to mind that you've read in the past?
Well, this was a fairly recent read, and it was prompted by a article I read about Thurber House.
Oh, yes.
Thurber House,
of course.
downtown
I used to
Columbus.
volunteer there. I used to give tours there
Really?
back in the early 2000s.
Okay, well, then you know about hosting authors
Yes.
and workshops and such. And so this was, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. And so I realized that this is James Thurber from Columbus, and I've never read anything by him.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up The Secret Life of Walter Mitty
Oh.
and read it. Mm-hmm. And so it's a series.
Yes, I love.
So a series of stories,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't quite what I expected. And I mean, I enjoyed it, but some of the humor I think was perhaps more aligned. I mean, this gentleman died in the early 1960s, and so I think the humor was perhaps reflective, as it would be, of his time. And so it's kind of prompted me to think, maybe I need to read one more of his just to see.
Yes.
Right.
Just to see. But, he's also known for his illustrations of dogs
Yes.
and stories about dogs. And, I'm a dog lover, so I think maybe that's the one I'll go to.
Sure.
One more try. Because I liked it, but it wasn't, I wouldn't rate it as, one of my favorites.
First
I don't know,
time
you
I
worked
read
there,
that,
so-
I read it in high school.
Okay.
And I had an English teacher who was really good at taking, stories like that and taking us through the explanation of the time period. So
Okay.
she did
So
a
that
really
would-
great
yeah,
job.
that
Miss
would add a
Exton,
lot.
if I doubt you're listening in Chesapeake, Ohio, but if you are, great job, because I still remember enjoying that book because the teacher who was teaching it
Yeah,
at the
I
time.
can see where that would add a lot.
I love Thurber House too because they do the Contemporary Award for humor.
yes,
So if you're
yes.
looking for a good laugh that is newly published, check their website out. They're where I found Gunkel, and if you've been listening for any time, you know that I love Gunkel and I love Gunkel Abroad, and pretty much, yeah. And I found that because of Thurber.
Well, good. Well, give me another title to go look. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So that was my recent read.
Well, that's a very good one. I like going back to older, titles that you just haven't had time to have, cross your book stand yet. And I think it is interesting when we read books that have humor from long ago to see how that humor ages. I mean, I'm a big fan of David Sedaris, and even some of his humor does not age well. Okay. Some of it is, like, oh, yeah, that was funny in the 90s, but, we've kind of moved past that now.
Yeah.
Well, even understanding that people thought electricity was falling out of the light back in the Thurber days, like they thought the electricity, if there wasn't a bulb in there, could just slide out of it. They out. Gas, because they understood how gas worked.
Oh, sure.
And so, it's little subtleties about how they were understanding the modern world, because that was such a great time of change. Weirdly remembering this from high school. Again, Miss Sexton, you were awesome.
Aw. Shout out to our high school teachers out there. Well, like I said, I have not been reading much lately because I am involved in a musical. And if I may give a shameless plug, Tick, Tick, Boom is being performed by Arena Fair Theater next weekend at Willis Auditorium. Performances on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, evenings on Friday, Saturday, matinees on Saturday, Sunday. So I have been full into musical mode. And so every other minute that I'm not working at the library, I am listening to the show, refreshing my lines, different things like that. It's a cast of 3, and it's a really unique story. The story is basically Jonathan Larson's musical autobiography of his journey into trying to make it on Broadway. And if the name Jonathan Larson rings a bell, It's because he wrote Rent. So Rent is the primary story that you'll know from him. And if you also know his story, you know that he tragically passed away while Rent opened. He was 35, so he wrote, produced, it got to Broadway, and then he really tragically passed. And so this musical was actually produced later, but it had written and it had come out, and so. So I've been very much involved in that, getting things going with that. Mark will have an interview with our director and our lead coming up this next week. But I've been really just curious about, Jonathan Larson and his life and everything that, he's gotten into. And so you can read his writings, you can listen to his musicals, you can find Tick, Tick, Boom, you can find the albums everywhere, you can find the Rent albums, but you can also listen to other people's perspectives. So Without You is a memoir of love, loss, and the musical Rent by Anthony Rapp, who was the original character Mark on Broadway for the show Rent. So Mark, that character played by Anthony Rapp, he goes through and he talks about his own journey on Broadway, his getting to know Jonathan Larson, his the love, the loss, the tragedy, the great success, and the life that's really happened with that's the amazing thing about musicals is that it's always alive. It's alive when it's on stage, especially because live theater, you never know what's going to happen. And then it continues to live because it might go away for 5 or 10 years, but then someone reimagines it. Well, what if it's, not New York in the 90s, but it's New York in the 2020s? What does that look like? And so they take new perspectives on it. So we've been having a lot of fun, and I've just been living in musical theater world.
So exciting.
Which is a beautiful, shiny place to be.
I love you making time in your life for this, too, because I think that's what feeds us as humans, is making time for our loves.
I've been waiting for it. It's been quite some time. Karen had asked me before we came on air, how many productions I'm involved in. I was like, this is the first full-scale production that I've been involved in about 10 years because I took time off while I had kids and because shows are demanding and you're gone multiple nights a week. When you get into Tech Week, it's, 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So it feels a little bit like abandonment when you have young children.
You're inspiring me because you're taking care of yourself, which will give you more energy for your kids.
And my kids are loving it too.
I say your kids are getting a lot out of it.
My kids are loving it too. There have been several times when I've brought them to rehearsal when, we've just needed to do blocking or different things like that because I had a thing and Dad had a thing. And so I just sit in the auditorium. You can watch if you want. You can watch your pad. I don't care. Just be good. And so they've come. And when my husband's come to pick them up, they have, opted to, would you like to go home with Daddy, or you can stay if you continue to be good. And both of them are like, no, I want to stay. This is awesome. So I think it's building some really cool loves and passions and desires
and memories.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
Are you allowed to say the dates?
Yes, it is. It's next weekend. It opens February 28th and runs through March 2nd, and it'll be at Willis Auditorium, and you can get tickets at arenafairtheater.net. Just Google Arena Fair Theater.
You said it's a cast of 3 only?
Only 3.
Wow. That's intense.
Yeah, so the main character plays just Jonathan, the story whom it's about. And then the other 2 characters, I play Susan, and then about 8 other characters. And then another young man, Ryan Hawkins, plays Michael and about 8 other characters. So
interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of costume changes.
Yeah, or hats or glasses or just kind of like in the essence of. So you'll have a good time.
Well, we'll get to experience your schizophrenia.
I have been a little manic lately. Sometimes the characters are more unhinged than other days. So, okay, well, with that, we will take a break. We'll be back on the other side to talk about the Lifelong Learning Institute at Ohio Wesleyan University. Stay tuned.
And back we go. It's 9:17. I've got them all inspired now with the whole rent-a-hen thing, right?
I'm ready.
So
I'm ready for my cat to bond to a new best friend, which is a hen.
It's off the shelf here now on My 96.7.
And thank you and welcome back. We are so excited to be here this morning. We have Karen Crosman in the studio with us. She is the director of the Lifelong Learning Institute with Ohio Wesleyan University, but you have lots of partners with this Lifelong Learning Institute. Tell us about, first of all, what is the Lifelong Learning Institute and who is it for?
All right. The Lifelong Learning Institute is for those 55 and older. We offer classes. We have 2 terms, spring and fall, and we say we offer classes and community. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a great gathering of folks who come to learn, on a whole variety of topics, but also to meet new people and reconnect with those that they already know. And so it's a real, it's just a very fun and collegial kind of a gathering. And we always say that we have spring and fall terms now, and we wonder if we need to have others because we feel like the amount of time in between the 2 terms is just too long.
Oh, yes.
We miss everybody.
Exactly. Maybe you need to add a summer term.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I didn't enjoy summer terms when I was in college, but maybe as an adult, I would.
Well, yeah, any term for this program would be, no tests, no quizzes, no papers to write. So it's a little bit different, perhaps, than what you remember.
I do like though that it's modeled like college. You sign up for the term and you register for classes.
Right.
How do you have a capacity? Can only so many people register? Is it open to anyone?
Well, it's open to anyone, and there's no real capacity other than the size of our space that we hold the classes in. And most of our classes are held in the Hamilton Williams Campus Center. And for folks who might be familiar with campus, it's a fairly large room.
Yeah.
So we do have a few classes that the presenter might limit the number of participants, but that's usually only 1 or 2 classes each term. And so for the most part, though, if you see a class that you'd like to register for, you can get in. Yes.
And much like college registration, there is a fee to enroll, but there's also scholarships.
Yes. We do offer $50 scholarships, and that applies to the $75 registration fee.
Yeah.
And I should add, it's $75. However, you can sign up for as many classes as you want. And so, for example, this spring term, we offer 10 courses, and each course has multiple sessions.
Oh, my gosh.
If that's a good way of describing it.
Yes.
And our sessions are 6 weeks in length. And so most classes are, once a week for 6 weeks. Some of the classes might be a little bit less or a little bit more, just, again, depending on the presenter and what the topic, renders itself. But anyway, so it's just 6 weeks of learning just for the pure love of learning. And we've certainly have learned the importance of learning for those as we get older. It's got to keep the brain active and keep it moving and learning new things. And so it has a lot of benefits for attending.
I have missed college. I've missed that act of going and learning something new and learning from different people. And my Kwanians go to your Lifelong Institute, and they'll come back and talk about these courses. Good. Why don't you tell us about some of the upcoming classes and courses that are going to be? Because I'm not kidding. You have the best selection of things that I would like to crash all of them.
So, and I should say, of course, this program would not be possible without the generosity of time and expertise of all of our presenters. It's just incredible. And so our presenters some are retired Ohio Wesleyan faculty, some are current Ohio Wesleyan faculty, folks from the community. It's just, wherever the interest and the expertise is, we're just happy to have you. And so we do rely a lot on our audience telling us what they'd like to hear about, as well as knowing kind of perhaps a couple faculty members and what their particular areas of expertise would be, and we think that would be an interesting topic. And so for this spring, as I said, we offer 10 courses, each one with multiple sessions. And so we have one, for example, called Science Behind the Headlines, where different topics will be picked by the attendees. The presenter will do some research and then rejoin the group to have that
So they're
discussion.
Getting to pick what he's researching?
Well, it kind of depends on what the interest is. But yes, it could be, climate change. It could just a whole host of things, whatever the interest is. And
that is amazing.
Yeah, that should be, I think, a really good one.
That's actually massive for the presenter as well. I mean, I think I would get a lot out of it as a learner and having wanted to guide myself into whatever learning we had suggested. But the presenter, oh my goodness.
Well, she's a scientist herself, and so she she has this knowledge and is willing to expand that further depending on what the topic of interest would be. So I think that's going to be a good one. We have one called My Life As, and where we feature certain folks who have fairly interesting and distinguished careers, and are going to share kind of what that has been like. We have one called TV Game Show Fun.
Love that.
Where I think this is going to be hoot. This presenter is going to talk about some of the history of like Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune and some of the other ones that we've all known and loved over the years. And then we're going to do he will do some simulations of the games, and he says there's some prizes that go along with it. So I'm waiting to see what that will be.
That sounds like so much fun.
We have a class called Get to Know Your Government. Who does what? The feeling being that sometimes folks might not be real sure which level of government is responsible for whatever the topic might be.
Right.
And so we have folks from the county, from the city. We have somebody from the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning as well. And then we have a gentleman coming to talk about looking back at the 2024 election and kind of what lies ahead. And so lots of different angles on that particular topic.
All levels of government.
Yes.
And I love you're getting to know Delaware County a little bit closer there, too. That's a great idea.
Right. We also have one, A Feast for Your Eyes. It's going to be taking a look at feasting from the perspective of art and archaeology. This is a professor from Ohio Wesleyan. I know she's going to do a fabulous job, and she's going to, it's going to be a visual as well as hearing about these feasts. And so I think that will be fun.
So we're exploring art, and it says exploration of art and the archaeology of feasting. So are we going to be looking at things like, the Last Supper, in conjunction with another aspect?
Yeah, I'm not sure that particular example, but the woman who's teaching this is an art historian.
Okay.
And so she has visual things that she will be bringing that would depict feasting in certain time spans, and then talk about that art as well as the archaeology of how this came to be.
How
so
interesting.
I think it's going to be,
Right.
We've never had that one before, so I think it's going to be fun. We have one on Local History Comes Alive.
Yes.
Where we have folks who reenact certain aspects or certain personalities. And so we have Adam Poe, who's the founder of Ohio Wesleyan. We have Hiram Perkins, who started Perkins Observatory. We have President Rutherford and First Lady Lucy Hayes.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah.
A World War I soldier from Ohio, and then Lucy Depp, who obviously the Depp family has an important aspect to Delaware County history.
And the best Christmas light show.
There you go.
They
That's
really
right.
do. If you go to Depp Park in Powell area, it is the Lucy Depp Park in Powell area. They have the best Christmas light show.
That's a good advertisement for that. We have a Falls Free Zone, which I'll just say this is a class presented by SourcePoint, which has been very supportive of the Lifelong Learning Institute, for which we are very thankful. But we all know that falls, we want to prevent them from ever happening, and it can change the course of one's life. And so you want to be very up to date on kind of how to prevent those.
Right.
We have one called Raise Your Spirits, where we visit certain wineries and breweries and kind of get a behind-the-scenes tour.
You've got to lower the age for me. Come
Right.
on.
Yeah.
You stay on the 48.
Can you do lifelong learning for almost 40-years-olds? Yeah.
Yes. Almost 40-year-olds. I can't even.
It probably won't surprise you when I tell you this is one of our more popular classes. But, you tour. I mean, these behind-the-scenes tours, I think, are fascinating because you just see, some are rather large-scale operations, some are more modest in scale, and just the idea that you would undertake such an enterprise. I mean, this is a lot of work.
There is, and it's really interesting too. My husband has done home brewing for many years, and I learned a lot as he was getting into it. But the other neat thing is, you have your sommeliers who know everything about the grapes and how they're grown and the pH and all of those sorts of things. But even in beer, the different hops, if you take one, pluck it off of the vine and kind of smell it, and then taste the beer. There's a lot there.
I know what I like, but I don't know how they do it. Like, I know I like a double black IPA more than a regular IPA, but I don't know why. And I want someone to tell me.
You could learn it when you're 55, and they do Raise Your Spirits.
I'm going to keep begging here.
Oh, well, could happen.
Can we audit the courses, Karen?
Come on.
All right.
I'd be happy to come. Then there are other two classes I wanted to mention. It's called LLI Potpourri.
Yes.
And whereas a lot of the other classes have perhaps the same presenter teaching for multiple weeks, this is a different presenter each week. And so the topics go all over the place. And so, for example, we have cemeteries for genealogy research. We have Prelude to Independence, from Tea Party to Shot Heard Round the World, kind of getting ready for our celebration next year. The Strange Fate of South Vietnam, The Mysterious Origins of the God of Israel. What are some of the other ones we have? We have 2 of the potpourri classes. Bird Migration, Unveiling the Leader Within, which is discovering your voice through the power of writing. And then we have another, I think really will be an entertaining one. Those Were the Days, Singing and Dancing in 10 Movies from 10 Decades.
That's very nice.
Okay, and I just heard those were the days,
there you
my
go.
friends.
There you go.
That would never end.
So hopefully what this reflects is we try to offer topics on a whole variety of subjects, hoping that you will find something that you like there. And I will say that most of our folks who attend do sign up for multiple classes.
Sure.
So.
I was going to say, so you mentioned this earlier, but just to reiterate, it could sound overwhelming hearing all of the offerings that come with this spring session of Lifelong Learning Institute. But you can do one, you can do them all.
Absolutely.
It's really up to your preference.
Right. We just ask that you register and tell us which ones.
Okay.
You're gonna come, because our presenters want to know how many individuals have registered for his or her class, and so we like to be able to tell them that. And so that's why we ask that. And plus, just to make sure that, for example, a lot of our presenters might have a handout or whatever else. We want to make sure that we have, everything that we need for the audience for that particular class. So that's why we ask.
And speaking of registration, where can people register?
Well, you can go online. And I can give you the web address, or it's even easier just to go online and Google Ohio Wesleyan University, get on the website, and then type in Lifelong Learning Institute.
Right.
Or you can go to www.owu.edu/LLI.
LLI
Love
for
it.
Lifelong Learning Institute. And if you're listening on the radio or on show notes on the podcast, we'll put them along with our notes. So
Absolutely.
yes, this is always educational, always fun to have you, Karen. We'll do it again, and I can't wait to hear what's coming up next. And maybe we'll have to put together a library class. I feel like we
would love
need
to do that.
a behind the scenes of
That would be
books.
fabulous.
Yes.
Something
That would be
like that.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I
We
also
can
add
do this.
one other thing?
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was just going to say we offer gift certificates because we have had those who are looking for a gift for mom,
Oh, that's
or a
wonderful.
birthday gift, or an
Yeah.
anniversary gift,
That's
or
a great
just
idea.
just cause kind of gift. And so we want to make sure folks know that.
That's a
Love it.
really nice gift,
Yeah.
and what a tangible way to express your love to someone in your life.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
go and learn more and enhance your mind.
I love it.
Great.
Awesome. Well, let's talk for a quick minute about some of the things that we have coming up at the library this week. It's a regular week, so what do we have coming, Molly?
I'm really excited because even though it's a regular week, we have a pop-up bargain book sale with our friends at the library. That's going to happen at Delaware this coming Saturday, which I think is tomorrow. I'm not really sure the days of the week at this point. It'll be happening 12 to 4 in the garage. This is going to weirdly be inside. We're going to have the garage door down. You're going to enter a different way, but, dust off those Friends of the Library book bags. And if you don't have one, join the friends, get one of those bags. You can fill that thing. I think for like $25, you get
as many books as you can fill.
It's unbelievable the deal you get
It's the
from
best
that.
deal in town.
So make sure you're getting there. Again, Saturday, 12 to 4.
We also have on Tuesday night Messy Makers. It's creative fun for all ages. That's going to be at our Ostrander Branch Library. It starts at 5:30 and goes until 7, but you can really drop in anytime. There will be a story time at 5:30, but you can enjoy the rest of it throughout the course of the night. And it's going to get messy, so make sure you bring your creativity, but maybe don't bring your favorite clothes.
Yes, and one more shout out for another partnership we have, navigating the U.S. Census data with the Genealogical Society.
They're amazing.
We love them. That census data, I get lost in it all the time. So that's going to happen at Delaware from 2 to 3 on Saturday, March 1st. So go ahead and get that one in your calendar for next Saturday. A week from Saturday. I want to be clear on that one.
When you're not seeing the musical.
When you're not seeing the musical.
Right.
So, around Nicole's musical.
Right. Thank you.
But be sure to make it because that one's going to be great.
Awesome. Well, as always, Molly, thank you for joining me and co-hosting and also saving the day with a granola bar this morning.
Love it. Always going to take care of you. You take care of me.
Karen Crosman, thank you for joining us about the
Thank
Ohio
you so much.
Wesleyan University Lifelong Institute. Mark, thanks for the board.
Where's my granola bar?
Next time.
hold on,
Next
I've
time,
got
Mark.
one.
There's the next one.
And until then, we'll see you in the stacks.